We can still hear it in the background a little bit, Lou.
Okay. Alright, I got it on 10, so I
Yeah,
can
you should be
barely
good now.
hear. Okay.
Do 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 do. Nickelodeon. Alright, let's double check that we are live from your mama's basement.
Yeah, I just got the update. So you're good. Yeah, I just got the update. So you're good.
Alright, yep, there we go.
Yeah, I just got the update.
Alright, yep, there we go. Yeah, we're good. We are sexy. Sexy. Yo! What to do? GG Nation, GG Legion. It's your fella again. Straussman, the GG. Welcome to another podcast. First off, I do want to apologize. It has been like a month since we did our last pod. I want to be a lot better about that. We have we started this channel on podcasting. We need a little bit. The intention was to be bi-weekly, so we're gonna try to do that as much as possible. Even if it's just me and Lou, we'll carry the show for now if it has to be. But we're gonna try to be bi-weekly on it. But if there is a Nintendo Direct this week, because we're gonna talk about that rumor a little bit later, we'll get a pod. Lou and I will hop on a pod and talk about this week's news and stuff like that. He's always raring to jump on a pod, so I do want to apologize for that. I do want to thank him for helping me out, even though you can't see his little fiend picture anymore. I don't know what happened there, but hey, he's there. He's hanging out. He's hanging out. But I do want to thank him for giving his time of day. He's always wanting to pod, so he's going to be my co-host for the next few episodes. What up, Shannon? How you doing, brother? There's going to be a fun episode. It's titled The Summer Without E3, and it's basically the theme of this show. But how you doing, Lou? How you doing, brother?
Doing great today. Can't complain. Just feeling a little sick in my stomach, but I'm doing well. So.
Yeah, I hope you feel better. Lou has some bad allergies to stuff, so hopefully he's good enough. I got a pretty bad headache right now too, but we're gonna rock through. We're gonna push through. It's gonna be a fun topic. I got some breaking news today as well. Also, I want to point out, I'm gonna give you guys a heads up. There will be no Avengers stream tonight on Twitch. I'm gonna take the night off. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll stream the final day of the Avengers. Things came up and I got a little bit busy, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. This is gonna account for today's video / live stream for our pod, episode 47, baby. But I got breaking news. Warner Brothers Games is no longer up for sale.
Uh-oh.
You heard it here first.
Uh-oh.
You heard it here first. Breaking news on GG and Friends, where I just stole it from some other website. I think it was deadline.com/NeoGaf as well, from their forums. But where are they going, they may ask. Everybody's guess. What's your guess right now, Lou? Who got them?
I'm hoping that they go somewhere where they'll be appreciated, but I got a bad feeling they're going EA. Sorry, guys.
They're going nowhere. They are not up for sale anymore.
Oh, that's great news.
A new head of, I forgot his name, I think it's Max Kepler. New CEO of Warner Brother Games. He's excited to keep going. They're no longer up for sale. He's going to restructure the whole company, just not HBO Max and everything like that. He's excited for the future. He spoke highly of the games. Go to deadline.com. They broke the news. It was also on NeoGaf, if you guys go on that forum. Lou and I talked about this extensively several times. I really thought, and I believe our last pod, you, me, and JJ, about a month ago, we were talking about that we probably didn't want EA, but it seemed like EA was going to be the favorite to get them.
Yeah, I thought it would be EA, to be quite honest. I actually secretly wanted Microsoft to kind of get them, just to have that kind of budding kind of rivalry between them and PlayStation, Marvel versus DC
crowd, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is great news. Still, because the people that were potential buyers, I was not a big fan of. So this is actually good news on a day for me.
Yeah,
So
it's surprising news. We knew they were. These sales take a long time anyway, guys. Like they take um, forever to usually go through. Like when we did the pod a month ago, me, JJ, and Lou talking about them potentially being bought by somebody. This is some really good news where they actually don't have to sell. They can stay and keep working on their IPs. Another one won't go anywhere. Keep that train going. I think this is good. I think this is really, really good. Like Lou said, this is some fantastic news for. I know a lot of you were sweating. Think of EA. I think Take Two Interactive was big on there as well, and Activision, of course. You know, the big conglomerates of the gaming industry. But hey, that's how we start the pod today. Some good news. Tell us what you think down below, for sure. Our next thing today, let's go over the state of play. 16 games were announced. Lou, how did you feel about Sony's state of play last week?
I thought it was very solid. You know, they mentioned there was going to be no PS5 big announcement. They showed Godfall. You know, it's not really my cup of tea, but I saw a lot of mixed reviews, either love or hate it.
Yep. Typical internet.
From the
what
sites
were
that I
your
saw.
highlights though? What stood out to you that's like in your head that you really enjoyed?
The Pathless was one.
Yes, very. I'm very excited about that game.
For some reason, Bug Snacks caught my attention. I know it's one of those things that it's a very catchy game
Song, yep.
with a catchy theme and theme song that people are singing all over the world right now. Probably people doing TikTok videos on it.
Yes.
But and actually, the ending, that last part kind of hooked me a little bit more. Because I just thought it would be like Octodad type of like adventure type of game.
Yeah, a little dark at the end there.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, like this is it's a little different. So you know what? It's kind of, I guess, broadened my horizons, I guess you would say. But yeah, Bug Snacks was one.
What about? I think you mentioned a couple days ago, Spelunky caught your eye or caught your father's eye.
Yeah, Spelunky too. It reminded him of the old Mario games.
Yep.
So
September 15th, that game. That's pretty close.
Yeah, he liked that. I didn't play the first one, so I didn't
we got
really
it free
catch
for
my.
PlayStation Plus. I think for PS3. JJ and I played it for a little bit.
Yes, we did
it's
get it free.
It's a little bit of a dungeon grind, kind of a grind type game. This one looks a lot more appealing to me though, for some reason. But probably not one I would pick up right away.
Yeah, I'd probably wait for a sale. Would wait for a sale, but you know what? That looked good. Of course, I actually didn't think they were going to talk about Crash. I don't know why I forgot about that game. I actually got that game pre-ordered.
I forgot about it too. When they started out with Crash, I was like, that's a really good way to start the state of play.
Yeah. So
that was one of my big highlights. Crash 4 was my big one of my big highlights. Pathless, what Lou said. Very excited. I like games like that that are unique and different, and that's what I like about Sony the most, that they take a lot of chances with not only their own IPs, but indie developers. They let indie developers create some unique franchises like Bug Snacks and Pathless. Pathless looks very interesting. Looks very, very interesting. It has to do with an archer, and you shoot things to speed up and go fast. They have some giant monster battles at the end. Very interesting. Very Breath of the Wild-like. Obviously, my anime roots, I loved Genshin Impact. Looked fantastic. It's supposed to come out in a couple months here. Supposedly, they said autumn anyway. I don't know if this is a free-to-play game or you have to. It looks like we can play multiplayer, but it's very Breath of the Wild. I know I got a lot of hate for that. That it's an anime Breath of the Wild. They literally just ripped off Breath of the Wild. A lot of people say, but even though it has a lot of different factors, it's its own thing too. It's its own creation. Breath of the Wild is not a co-op game or anything like that. We don't know if Breath of the Wild 2 is, but that was another big highlight for me. Godfall at the end was a big highlight. Temtem being announced was huge. This is another people associated with being a Pokemon clone, because it is. It straight up is a Pokemon clone. They they didn't hide that at all. It was big on Steam when the beta came out. So this actually coming to console was something I was not expecting. So actually, that's a very huge announcement. This one announcement I overlooked a lot while we were live streaming it, doing the live reaction. And Control's second expansion, Awe, is a connection to Alan Wake, and that's huge. That is effing big.
I read something, and don't quote me on this.
Okay.
I think IGN posted this article that they're creating another game that's going to be in the same universe as Control and Alan Wake.
I wouldn't doubt it, because when Control got announced, they said it already was in the same universe, but a lot of people forgot about it, and the game doesn't exactly tie in. Now it's going to with this expansion too. Really enjoyed playing that game. I thought the story could have been a little better. I thought the story started out strong and then petered out middle. It got a lot of high praise. It won some Game of the Year awards and stuff. It hit people a lot differently than it hit us on the pod here, so we're not hating on it or anything like that. We platinumed the game. All of us on the pod platinumed the game.
Yep.
We played it extensively. We played it 40 hours, mostly. The Star Wars Darth Vader VR game was really cool. I know it's not called that. It was called something else. I think it was like Jedi something. There was an interesting controversy on this, was Aeon Must Die. Apparently, that whole staff quit that game. Game before Sony announced it, but Sony announced it anyway, so that game might not exist anymore. Very interesting. It's set for 2021 on PS4. I don't know if someone else is picking it up. It was on Twitter. The reason why I saw it on GameFAQs and I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, wow, that's kind of shocking. A lot of people were really pissed off because they really liked that look of that game. Now that game probably isn't going to happen. So that's very interesting. That was what do you think about that, Lou? How do you feel about that?
I think that's very disappointing, and I don't know why Sony would show it if they knew ahead of time.
Probably too hard to pull it.
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I don't know how it is easy to edit their state of play format. It's probably a pain in the butt.
I mean, that's kind of bad. That's kind of a bad thing to show.
It's not good. Yeah, it's not a good look. So overall, I thought the state of play, you guys know, I didn't want to give it a grade or anything, but I really enjoyed it, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Microsoft conference later. I thought this state of play was better than Microsoft's gaming showcase by far. What up? What's up, LG? How you doing, brother?
I thought the same thing.
I really enjoyed it. Again, this kind of fit what I really like to play and stuff like that, so I don't want to be too subjective about it. Let's talk about Avengers beta impressions. I let Lou play a little bit. I let him play one mission of it, so he got a little bit of a taste. I know a lot of you are waiting for the free beta or the Microsoft beta next week. The free beta is 2 weeks from now. I highly suggest jumping in. I think this beta is going to win a lot of people over to Avengers if you're on the fence about it. I see so many people talk about it now on GameFAQs and Twitter after playing the PS4 beta. They were like, yeah, I'm in. I'm going to buy it. Also, I saw a lot of people, not a great deal of people, but, excuse me, sorry, burping. I just ate some dinner. That's the pizza and wings coming back up. Sorry about that, guys. I apologize. The Avengers beta, I saw a lot of people also coming over because of Spider-Man. They're saying they canceled their PC pre-order, they canceled their Xbox pre-order, and they jumped to PS4 because of the Spider-Man exclusivity. That's going to tie into our next topic. But I want to just say I was pleasantly surprised. This game looks pretty clunky when you watch it, but playing the game, man, it was really, really smooth. I know a lot of you guys watched me play the bridge sequence. That was pretty fun. The only clunkiness of the bridge sequence is kind of Iron Man. The flying segment in the bridge sequence there. Story looks good right now. I wouldn't say it's great or amazing narrative. The one true bright spot for me is Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and her dynamic of being a super fan, actually becoming an Avenger to rally these other Avengers together after A-Day, after Cap dies. Which, slight spoiler, he's coming back. He ain't staying dead. I mean, he's one of the characters you play as, so he ain't dead. I'm assuming, my guess is he's going to come back like midway through story or something like that. But it is, after A-Day, after Cap dies, it is a 5-year time skip. So it's an interesting story. The only bummer about this, we'll tie it into the exclusivity later, I just remember. But what that one mission you played, Lou, as Iron Man, you only played as one character. What did you think about it?
I thought it was, well, of course it was on SharePlay, so there was a little bit of a delay. But I actually thought it felt, playing as Iron Man felt much better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I didn't really think, I thought it would be clunky. I thought it would be like, this is stiff. It didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I watched some people actually play, and, it kind of, it broadened my horizons a little bit. But I don't know. Like, I'm still gonna get the game. I'm just not sold on the game yet.
Longevity, yeah.
Yeah, because I want something different out of the game, and then kind of going in a direction that is kind of like, yeah, that's fine, but it's a little disappointing to me. We'll see how the story plays out, because as you well know, I'm a big story guy. So,
well, you're going to have a meaty story. The story is definitely going to be... It'll be interesting to see you when you play the bridge demo and stuff like that. I think you'll be sold on the game. I think this is going to turn a lot of people over. I want to read Nicholas's question here. I don't know why people would cancel their pre-orders for Spider-Man. Well, he's Marvel's probably most popular character right now. So he's probably the most popular Marvel character ever, really. So I would assume, that's a big deal for a lot of people. The Spider-Man exclusivity thing is interesting because it might not be permanent. It might be a year away, and stuff like that. A lot of people really love Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Wolverine are my two favorite characters of all time. So it's pretty cool to see Spider-Man. The only bummer about Spider-Man being in this is it's a new Spider-Man. It's not Insomniac Spider-Man. They're not going with the Marvel Gaming Universe thing. Because slight spoilers for Spider-Man PS4. They reference the Marvel bridge sequence, the Avengers bridge sequence in that game. So it's kind of a bummer. What's up, Joel? How you doing? Yeah, Spider-Man will be set a side quest that changes Zero main game story. Lou and I were talking about that. We'll just go into Spider-Man exclusivity anyway. Lou and I were talking about that, and that was one of his big hopes. And it's my hope, too, is that it's not... that they're going to have some story-driven stuff with these DLC characters that they're bringing in. And if you read the PlayStation blog of Spider-Man, they do mention that they're going to have they're going to have some story tied to Spider-Man. It's just you just don't download the character and jump into multiplayer missions. You got to play a set of story-driven missions with the character. And yeah, and it's out 2021, you're right. So we don't even know when Hawkeye's coming out. How long do we have to wait for Hawkeye? I'm guessing a month after. That's going to be my guess. Is a month after. But I think it's an interesting... This is a very power move from Sony. And is this exclusivity? I see a lot of people fighting about this in the internet. Is exclusivity a problem, though? Is this Spider-Man exclusivity a problem?
No, I don't think it's a problem. I think it's nice to have exclusivity for consoles and games and stuff like that. I really don't feel it's a problem. I kind of thought that this was like, a Dell type moment. Like,
Yeah.
Spider-Man is definitely gonna be, a PlayStation character. He's not going on Xbox, and I know that makes a lot of Xbox gamers really sad about that. But it's kind of the way that it is. I don't. To me, I don't get why people would be mad. I think people get mad at everything, so it don't really matter.
The internet. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, the internet the internet, they get mad at everything, and I just think that if you use some logic in this situation, you would see why he's only on PlayStation. So,
who is the exclusive Spider-Man? Peter Parker. It's their version of Peter. If you read the PlayStation blog, it's their version of Peter Parker. It's not the same one from Insomniac. It's its own separate. This universe is different than the Spider-Man universe. From Insomniac Spider-Man universe, it's a very different character. It's the same. It's going to be Peter Parker most likely, but it's their version of Spider-Man. It's Square Enix / Crystal Dynamics version of Spider-Man. It's a very interesting thing. I can see why people are upset because Spider-Man is a Marvel character. Sony owns the movie rights. They bought Spider-Man really, really cheap in like 1999. They made 3 successful movies with Tobey Maguire. I know a lot of people hate the 3rd movie, but it made a shit ton of money. Spider-Man 3 made a lot of money. But superhero movies were still a scary time back then because, CGI and stuff weren't really there or prevalent a lot. It was really hard to make them. But Spider-Man 1 and 2 and 3 were huge hits. Tobey Maguire knocked it out of the park. Sam Raimi, obviously. And, excuse me again, I apologize. Again, Spider-Man's not Aloy. He's not Kratos. He's not Sly Cooper. He's not Jak and Daxter. He's not Joel and Ellie. He's not a character made from Sony. He's Marvel's character. Spider-Man is in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. He's in all the mobile games. Which is a Switch exclusive game if you guys don't know. He's Sony. This seemed like a really smart Sony business move to me. They do what it takes for their fandom, and they don't care what anybody else. They don't care about the noise. They just do what they think is right for their fans. And they're going to be making a lot of powerful moves with exclusivity. And it shows with Final Fantasy VII Remake. It shows with the many years of exclusivity of Destiny, the Call of Duty, the month ahead of DLC for Call of Duty. Sony, this is what Sony does. It's a smart move, I think, to do. I wasn't a big fan of Amazing Spider-Man movies. Yeah, and that's why they gave it to the MCU. That's why they're like, sorry, Andrew Garfield. We signed you for 6 movies, but we're going to cut you and move on. And going by story, Spider-Man will be an older version who has a lot of work covering for the lost of Avengers. It could be, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They kept referencing Sensational Spider-Man in the PlayStation blog. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Go ahead, Lou. What'd you have to say?
So I'm wondering if they're going to continue down the path with Sony's exclusive games, referencing Spider-Man doing all these adventures with Square Enix Avengers. Because they did mention something about that, if I remember correctly, and you referenced earlier, right?
They did, but they're not doing the Marvel Gaming Universe. Sounds like they were going to, but it's probably a lot easier for these separate, gaming studios just to kind of do their own thing. It's a lot easier to set in their own reality. It's a lot of business moves and a lot of power moves, and you got to work with other studios. It's a lot harder to do than it is to do in movies. Because movies, all you're really trying to do is acquire rights and then get the directors you trust and stuff like that. That's why it's easier to do that. With video games, which is a very long process, this Avengers game was announced 2015, right? I think?
Yes.
16?
Yes,
I don't know. It's announced a long effing time ago. This beta is going to do wonders. I don't think exclusivity is the problem. I know it sucks. I know it sucks for a lot of, for the PC players and they already said there will be no Microsoft exclusive character. I see the PC community modding Iron Man to look like Spider-Man, even though it would still be weird that he could fly and shoot laser beams out of his hands.
Oh man.
They had that idea, but it was dropped. Yeah, that's what I was hearing about it too, Nick. It would have been really good. They thought, the director of Spider-Man PS4 from Insomniac, Brian Itatar, he talks about how Spider-Man was supposed to be the Iron Man of the MGU, the Marvel Gaming Universe, but Marvel is taking gaming very seriously. Like they are not playing around with Marvel video games anymore. They want to take it much more serious. They showed that with Spider-Man. This Avengers game is not what people want. Life of Service games are just tough. And I hate to say it this way. What's like the biggest flaw of Life of Service game, Lou? What in your terms, in your eye?
In my eyes, God, let's see, where do we go?
Okay, well, this is what I was thinking. I didn't want to put you on the spot or anything like that, but this is what I was thinking. It's you kind of pay for a work in progress because you don't really know what's really going to happen. This is also the problem with PC gaming and crowdfunding games in general. We've seen Mighty Number 9 be a success. Symphony, not Symphony of Night, but Igarashi's game. I can't. What is it? Oh my God! I was playing it on Xbox Game Pass. Great game. Great game. That game being crowdfunded, and then obviously Yooka-Laylee was a huge success as well. Crowdfunded game. But this is the problem. You kind of with a lot of PC games you pay for a beta that will actually never be a game. For Life of Service games, this is tough. This is a very Destiny-like situation. You're going to pay for... This game's going to get better as it goes. It's going to be good. But I think they learned a lot from Destiny and Anthem and a lot of those other games that are Life of Service. I know Anthem flopped hard. Like, it flopped to EA, BioWare. It ruined their reputation 100% after Mass Effect.
Am I the only one that thinks that we don't need a Life of Service Avengers game?
Yeah, it was a copyright. It was a copyright situation, Nick. For those, yeah, I could see it. I could see that being a nightmare for games like that, better or worse. Go ahead, Lou. What were you saying?
No, I was saying, am I the only one that thinks that we don't need a Life of Service Avengers game?
Yes, a lot of people were really hoping for that, but to be honest, man, this has never been done before with a Marvel game of this magnitude. This AAA, powerhouse of a game. I played the full beta, and I gotta say, I'm impressed. It's a lot. Like, I think the second War Table showed a lot better. Obviously, I paid $80 already. I'm invested. I got a lot of people to play with anyway. I know a lot of you are on the fence. I think the beta will calm all that down. But you're right. I think a focused single narrative would have been a little bit better. But they do have that in this game. There is a lot of story-focused narrative sequences in this game that connect to that A-Day of Cap dying. So they have that in this game. But what they're doing is they're adding this multiplayer element on top of it. I hate always saying Destiny, but it kind of is like that. You have your strike team. You can grab 3 of your friends. If you only grab 1 of your friends, the other 2 characters will be your characters, yada, yada, yada. And you play. Some missions could be up to 5 to 10 minutes, up to like hour plus if you're doing a big strike or if you're doing a boss battle, something like that. They haven't mentioned anything about raids or anything. There was like no raid or anything on the beta. I'm assuming they might do that. All the DLC is going to be free. They're giving characters out for free. They're going to give out DLC for free. They're making all their money off costumes and microtransactions. The M-word, I know the M-word. Very Fortnite related. I think that's a smart idea. I think they learned a lot from Destiny and those other games. I'm not saying this game... I think this game's going to be a solid 7. Probably 7.5 after playing the beta. But this game's going to do a lot better than I think most people think it's going to do. I think this game's going to sell really well. It's going to play really well. And they're going to fix and tune it as it goes along and make things better, add more story stuff, yada, 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 as it goes on. You know how it is. Life goes on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another rumor that's been floating around for a long time. I remember mentioning this months ago to Lou and others on the podcast. Final Fantasy 16 supposedly was supposed to be shown at Sony's PS5 reveal. It was pulled. But the rumor is that Final Fantasy 16 might be a permanent exclusive for Sony. I think it's a year exclusive like Final Fantasy 7. I can see it flop when it goes into long term as they mess it up first year and mid-5. Possibly. I mean, Destiny, a lot of people said that about Destiny, though. Remember when Destiny 1 came out and it was a 72 Metacritic, and then it just kept getting better and better, and people kept playing and kept playing. And then Destiny 2 came out. They added a big meaty story on top of it, and it got an 85 Metacritic. It was much better than the original game. And
But
it's
with
still
Destiny,
making a lot of money. What, they're on like their 5th or 6th expansion already, Beyond Light or whatever, for Destiny 2.
But-
So Destiny 2 like is still a powerhouse, and I think like it could go that way, you like you said, Nick, but I don't know. I think it's gonna go the other. I think it's gonna win a lot of people over, because you can't always go with what Twitter and message boards say. There's a lot of people that don't pay attention to any of this shit. Like they don't pay attention to none of it. They see their Avengers commercial on TV. I'm gonna go buy that and play it, and they play it, enjoy it, play it with their friends. I think it will do good.
the only thing I want to say though is with Destiny, they have a big expansion every year. I think it's the 4th year they have like a big raid, like the Taken King. I think it's the 3rd year, like the Taken King's raid, and then the one recently.
I don't remember what it was called. I know what you're referencing though.
Yes, and eventually I think all their stuff became free. Their
it became free
little
to play.
mini.
It's very true.
Yes, little mini expansions and stuff, whatever that they were doing. I got the plat in Destiny 1 and 2, and the game to me, I can keep playing for a long time, and then when people stop playing and they get bored, I grew out of it. I don't feel like that's the way I'm gonna be with this game, with the Avengers. I think I'm gonna get my plat and do all the minimum requirements, and then kind of like put it away. I don't know what they're gonna have later on. If they're gonna have big expansions like that, to keep you, entertained and keep you going. So that's just my thing. There's a lot of questions that I have with the Avengers game. So, I know we keep bringing it up to Destiny, but Destiny has a lot of things that you can do on a weekly basis, from strikes Nightfalls and raids and Crucible stuff. Bounties.
Yes, very true.
So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in Destiny that can keep you entertained.
I'll read your comment in a second, Joel. Give me 1 second. Well, I'll let Luke finish.
So I just don't. I don't like the idea of comparing it to Destiny, even though that's the likely comparison that we're all going with.
I'm with you 100%. I don't like comparing it either, but there is parts of it that are like Destiny, but there's also a majority of it that it's not. That it's more like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but in 3D scape, and also a big story, a good 10 to 15 hour story that's pretty meaty, which Destiny 2 didn't have. I think the story was only like 4 hours, maybe 2 hours in Destiny 2, something like that. Final Fantasy 16, if it isn't a MMO, I'm happy. You're right, Joel. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a story-driven game. Let's get back on topic with Final Fantasy 16 exclusive rumor. What do you think about that, Lou? Because Final Fantasy 7 was a year exclusive. I still think Final Fantasy 16 will probably be a year exclusive. If it is a permanent exclusive for Sony, that's a big power move. A lot of Sony fans will see it as, hey, Final Fantasy's returning home, because that's where a lot of people say that's where it started. But in reality, it actually started in Nintendo. It was an NES game. And then when the N64 decided not to go disc-based, and they stabbed Sony in the back, Sony was like, yo, we're going disc. We're making our own console. We're going to bring Final Fantasy 7, and it was huge. For a lot of people, it's the greatest JRPG of all time. For me, it was, until Persona 5. Persona 5 is the new GOAT of JRPGs, in my opinion.
But to get back to the original question you asked me, what do I think about it?
Yeah.
If it's permanent, I think that's a big game for Sony. I think that's a loss for Xbox, for those that actually would care about it over there. And I'm not trying to downgrade Xbox or their gamers in any way. But
yeah, we don't hate. I own all 3 consoles. Lou owns all 3 consoles. We love video games in general. But yes, we align with a little bit Sony and Nintendo more, because they just give us the games that we like the most. They give us the single player narrative stuff. They give us the Mario and Zelda. They give you the Mario sports bullshit that we play, you know? Like,
and if you know me with Xbox, I'm very hard on them because I want them to do better. Not hard in a bullying type of way, but hard in like I feel like that they could do better and they should do better. And you know, some of the stuff that I've seen is kind of disappointing. So you know, and we'll talk about that more later on, because you know, with the I guess the conference that I recently saw. But yeah, it's you know, I feel like that it's just a way that they should do much better, and they should be in this war against PlayStation. But yeah, I think this is just going back to the original topic, Final Fantasy 16.
I know we keep going off tangent.
Yeah, but I think that's huge. I think that's huge if that's a permanent exclusive.
It would be a big get for sure. You're right about that.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a year.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think too.
I think Square Enix is a very smart business company, and I think that having that for on PlayStation for a year,
they're definitely on the upswing. I mean, them and Capcom were like trending down. Then they kind of trend in the mid 2000s. Now they're like trending like through especially Capcom. Capcom's killing it. How long will I know a lot of you are posting comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep on track here with Lou. How long will we wait for the Final Fantasy VIII remake? And Nick just mentioned there won't be. There will be eventually, guys, but we'll be old as shit when Final Fantasy VIII remake comes out. Because they might actually do Final Fantasy VI first. Nomura has talked about going backwards first before going forwards. But they did reference Final Fantasy VIII remake. The thing about Square Enix, they're not a small studio. They have several studios, and they'll outsource if they have to.
Yep.
I know they tried to for Final Fantasy VII remake and didn't like what Cyber Connect was doing. So they're like, oh, okay, we're going to take that back. They essentially made Final Fantasy VII remake in about 3.5 years. I know it was announced in 2015. Didn't come out till April of 2020. But they waited 1.5 years to take that away from Cyber Connect. So they essentially made Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, which I can't believe we're saying that, but yes, Part 1, in about 3.5 years. So they did it pretty fairly quick. They're full steam ahead with Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, or 7, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Jeez, these titles are going to get insane with how they're talking about. I think, I'm with Lou, it would be a big get. I think it is going to be a year exclusivity. I think it's I think Square's on the up-and-coming again, up on the upswing. They're very smart, like Lou said, as a business company. Let's talk about Rocksteady's Suicide Squad game that was just announced a day or two ago. I don't remember if it was Friday or Thursday. It was announced yesterday. It was announced Friday. No gameplay trailer. There's a DC fandom going on August 22nd. We'll do a live reaction to it if they are streaming it. They're supposedly showing WWE Montreal's Batman game as well, the Court of Owls game. It's not going to be called Court of Owls, but it's based on that
comic. It's based on the story.
On that story of Court of Owls, which is a fantastic Batman story. This Rocksteady rumor, I didn't want to believe it for the longest time because we knew it was canceled for a long time. But Rocksteady came back and they came to do it again. And supposedly, this is going to piss off a lot of people. This is also supposedly supposed to be a life of service game like Avengers. Rocksteady's known for their great Batman Arkham trilogy. WWE Montreal did Batman Arkham Origins, which was the 8 Assassins on Christmas Day. One that a lot of people didn't play. It's a very underappreciated Batman game. It is good. Not as great as the other three, I would say. You hope the Suicide Squad has the Enchantress? Yeah, it probably will. It's supposedly called Suicide Squad versus the Justice League. The picture showed them with a target on Superman's head, which will do nothing to Superman because he's immune to bullets and stuff. Unless, I guess, they have some kryptonite or something. But Lou and I are just gonna go off the rumors of this and stuff. What do you think of this announcement, Lou? And I know we kind of know how you just feel about Life of Service games, but how do you feel like Rocksteady's gonna handle this one?
Think they're gonna handle it well. I don't expect much from them. If anything, it's kind of not really appealing to me, to be quite honest. The DC Universe, although there's a lot of cool stuff about the DC Universe and what have you, it's not really my cup of tea in terms of, likeness. But
you didn't like the Arkham series?
Yes, I did, but the other stuff, like, I'm not really as big a fan as a lot of people are. People really go hard with DC versus Marvel. I personally think Marvel is superior.
I like Marvel more for sure. I do as well.
Yeah, and to me, when I look at it, it's just not really like, it didn't get me excited, and especially when you mention Life of Service, I kind of roll my eyes at it. That kind of seems like the trend we're gonna go with now, Life of Service.
It's been a trend for like 10 years now.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna go more and more towards that direction.
I don't think not every single game's gonna do it. It's hard to do because you gotta invest a lot of money. WB, even though WB Games was on sale, Warner Brothers Interactive themselves have a lot of money. They're rich as they have a lot of money, so they can invest in this game. And Rocksteady's been having a lot. Like Rocksteady, we haven't heard from them since Arkham Knight. It's been 5 years. 5 years since we heard of them. W Montreal's been hella quiet. They've been teasing that a Batman Arkham Court of Owls game for months now, and everybody's getting pissed off because they just want to hear it announced. They themselves said, "Hey, we wanted to announce it on E3 in Xbox, but Microsoft show, but obviously E3 was canceled. We have the Summer of Games without E3, which is kind of a bummer. Like, we'll talk about that in a second. I think a Suicide Squad game would really work. I was just interested to hear that the original one was canceled, and now they're kind of going with this one, a Life of Service game. There was no trailer. They just tweeted it and showed the photo of the Suicide Squad game being announced. I know a lot of people have just kind of jumped the gun already and condemned it to hell already, but I want to see the trailer. I want to see what this is about before I have any judgment on the game. Rocksteady is a very good gaming company, very rock solid, no pun intended there. They make a lot of They made a lot of great games. They have a track record, but I know a lot of their games have been canceled. We know several Batman games have been canceled. The Suicide Squad game was canceled. A lot of stuff they've been in development hell for a while now. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see, but I'll reserve judgment. Let's talk about some Nintendo. Animal Crossing is a juggernaut right now. 22.4 million copies sold. Some people are going to say it's the quarantine. It could be. It could be a little bit of both. It could be starvation of waiting for another Animal Crossing. The last one, New Leaf, was in 2013, I think. For 3DS. So it's been a long time. They waited for another mainline Animal Crossing game. Lou and I and the Turnip Mafia still play this game regularly. We got to get our turnips tomorrow. But what do you think of that, Lou? That's a very impressive number.
Yeah, it is. I'm not surprised though. It's a real good game, and with timing, if you think about the timing aspect of it, with quarantine just beginning as it came out, I think that there was a point where I couldn't get a single controller. So I think that any game that really did well, people were going to play. And I'm not trying to knock the game by saying that, because there were hungry fans. I think it's just a mixture of a lot of
variables.
So
and for whatever reason, Nintendo games software-wise, they just sell a ton. Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game. It's the highest-selling Switch game at 32+ million. You know, it's a juggernaut. It still sells to this day. And yes, Joel, everyone and their mom is playing Animal Crossing. It's a very fun game. Them doing an island is very smart. Lou and I are still playing it. They're adding monthly content to it. It's not significant content, but it's enough to get you to turn on the game and play it for a day, right? And
anything
I think
to
that's
hold
all
you.
they're going for. Go ahead, Lou. What did you say?
I was going to say the content that they're adding. Anything to hold you over? Like, is there anything that you really kind of look forward to doing during that new content? Like, did you look forward to swimming for stuff in the water?
I did. I did do it for a little while. It was fun because there was 40 more creatures.
Yeah,
and I love filling my museum up. I'm a sucker for that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of turn. I don't have any more fossils to turn in, so.
Yeah, I don't either. I finished the fossil part, but it's gonna take forever with paintings because Crazy Red barely ever visits my island. It's like every 2 weeks, it seems like.
Yeah, I think it's on like a Tuesday or something, but don't quote me on that.
So. I don't know. I always check and I don't, or maybe I don't pay attention enough because I don't see the ship all the time. I don't see it all the time. But what do you think about that, Lou? That's a impressive number.
I think it's a very impressive number. Like I said, I think the timing had. I think the game was going to sell well, no matter the timing. I think it was going to sell really well. But 22 is a very big number.
Yeah.
And with people being home, you got to have something to do, and I just think that number would have been 15 if we weren't in the situation that we're in right now.
Well, to be fair, everybody's numbers are going up because PS4's numbers were going through the roof too.
I think Xbox went up 8%.
Sure. Like they announced there are over 120 plus million consoles sold, so they're killing it.
Yep, I think Xbox went up 8% if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I saw Phil Spencer say something about that.
Twitch got more popular than ever, because of this, because of the quarantine. So I think there is some variables. Otherwise, you can't deny it, though. That's very good, though. 22.4 million. It's in the record books right now. Can't take it away from that. You can say what you want, how they got there, but
do you count that towards? Is it going to be a category for Game of the Year? Like, is it actually going to be a Game of the Year?
Because of how it sold, I don't know if they factor that in. I think Nintendo will have one game, and I thought it was going to be Animal Crossing because that's their biggest release this year. And they know it. They know that Xenoblade Chronicles, which I still got to finish. You guys watched my unboxing video of it. Thank you so much. Fantastic game. But it's an older game, and it's kind of a remaster of it. It's the best way to put it. Like, they just kind of redid the character models, and that's it. They added a little bit of new content. They added Future Connected that you could play. It was a big title for them for sure. But they knew Animal Crossing was their big, big game. Paper Mario, we didn't even talk about Paper Mario. Origami King. That should have been a lot bigger than it was, and it isn't, unfortunately. It's not what people really want from Paper Mario yet. I know my little cousin Max loves it, though. I think he beat it. Shout out to him in 22 hours.
22 hours?
He really enjoyed that one. It is an impressive number. I think they will be nominated. This is what I think my Game of the Year is going to go. It's going to go... And you guys already know, my Game of the Year is Persona 5 Royal. But it will not be nominated. It will be... the nominations will be Animal Crossing, Cyberpunk, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and Last of Us Part 2. Those 6 will be the nominations, in my opinion.
Okay,
I could be wrong though, but that's what I'm going with my gut. The reason why I'm not putting Persona, I know a lot of you want Persona 5 Royal and it deserves to be on there. It's because they're gonna view it as a re-release of a game that already got nominated for Game of the Year 3 years ago. So that's kind of how the cookie crumbles. I'm not upset about it because it's Game of the Year is very cool. It's a huge award. But there's going to be 1,000 other Game of the Year awards from websites and everywhere. Hell, we're going to have a Game of the Year award, right? So it's just whatever your preference is. but it does give you a boost in sales, man. God of War sales got a big boost because it won Game of the Year. It's hugely recognized now because it beat Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's no slouch. It's no slouch to win it because people view Jeff Keighley's show as the only Game of the Year award that matters, which is not true at all. They have several other Game of the Year award shows. So, and God of War hit the whole circuit. It wasn't like all of them. It wasn't like all of them. But that's what I think is going to be nominated for Game of the Year. Let's end this podcast. Well, wait, actually, let's talk about the Nintendo Direct rumors this week. Supposedly, this is Lou. Shout out to Lou. He broke this to me. It's supposed to be announced. There might be not announced. It's supposed to be a Nintendo Direct either anywhere from the 11th to the 22nd, right? That's what it was quoted?
Yes. Yes.
So, we will do a live reaction if it happens. Lou and I will jump on a pod and talk about it when it happens. The rumors were this was supposed to be a pretty meaty one. This was supposed to be the big one, right? This was supposed to show a lot of games. The last Nintendo Direct Mini, which was a month ago, right?
Yeah,
I think it was a month ago. JJ and I reacted to it, and it literally was 8 minutes. It was like 8 fucking minutes long. But had two big games for me. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Remaster and Shin Megami Tensei 5 being, re-unveiled, to quiet the crowd a little bit. You guys just gotta be more patient with Atlas. They take forever with stuff, man. And that's how I prefer it anyway. Patience is a virtue. We're all too impatient right now.
Slow and steady wins the race.
We're all really too impatient at the moment. But Animal Crossing, big. The biggest rumors that were supposed to come out of this was the Super Mario All-Stars 2, essentially, with the remasters of 64, Galaxy 1. What am I missing? Sunshine, right?
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
You said 64,
three.
right?
So, if all three of those games were together, that'd be insane. That'd be insane for Super Mario All-Stars 2. What do you think of that, Lou? Is that an enticing package?
That's a very enticing package. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm definitely getting that. Like that's just that's very enticing. I want it. It kind of got me excited for it because I didn't think that they would do that.
Yeah.
They
could easily charge each of these games like $60.
You said what if they charge each of these games $60?
They could easily separate all these games and charge them $60.
Oh yes, that's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, I'm forgetting one. Super Mario 64 is supposed to be in there too, right?
Yes. That was what was mentioned in the article. For what was it? I think it was Mario's 20th anniversary or something.
It's like Mario's 38th anniversary or something, or 35th anniversary.
Yeah, it's supposed to be some sort of anniversary that they're celebrating. So, yeah. I mean, like I said,
yeah. I know the Europe does struggle with Atlas games. They don't get a lot of. They always view you guys last with their games for sure. But go ahead, Lou. Go ahead, continue.
No, I was just gonna say that that would be very exciting. I would love to play those games again. And I mean, I expect a lot from this Direct. I don't know how you feel. I kind of we haven't really heard a lot of.
This is supposed to be like their E3 one, right? There's supposed to be some meaty content. Are we going to see Bayonetta 3?
Yes.
That's another one that's been kind of disappeared for a while. That was announced 3 years ago, right?
Yes.
Are we going to see that here, Lou?
I think there's a possibility we see that. I do. I really do think that's a high possibility.
Waifu for Waifu Bayo. I need her back in my life, man. Bring her back, damn it. Bring her back. Are we going to see Metroid 4? Are we going to see... We already got the Pikmin 3 Deluxe announcement, right? That already got announced before this Direct. I'm trying to think what else they're missing. Big Breath of the Wild 2. Why am I forgetting about that? Are we going to see that here, Lou?
I don't think... We might see like a concept trailer, but no gameplay. And that would be fine with me if they showed a concept trailer.
I don't think that game... The game supposedly was supposed to be 2020. I don't see it making it 2020. I'm thinking March of next year, Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah. So I can see maybe a concept trailer to let you know, hey, it's coming, it's real. and then like spring of 2021 or what have you. And then as we get closer to Christmas, we start seeing gameplay and more. We learn more about the game. That's what I kind of see from them. And
Okay.
that article that I showed you yesterday, they
Yeah.
referenced that because of the pandemic, some stuff might have been delayed a little bit
Yeah. Well, they
in
always
terms
start
of.
out with Direct lately talking about that a lot of stuff has probably been pushed back because Fighter Pass 2 came out for Smash Brothers, and we've only got Min Min. There's 5 other characters, and we only got Min Min. And
Yes.
so, do we see another new character? I would assume so. I think it's about time, right?
Yeah, I think we see another new character.
I don't know who that
I,
would be. I still think we're getting 2 guest characters, guys. I'm calling Dante, and I'm calling Ryu Hayabusa. That's my gut. That's my gut for Smash. Everybody else will be first party. They'll bring another. I think they'll bring another Xenoblade character. That's very much associated with Nintendo. It's a huge franchise for them now. I'm trying to think what else could be. Do you remember anything else that was referenced in that comicbook.com article?
Metroid. Let's see. There's Mario Kart 9.
Mario Kart
Mario
9.
Kart
That would
9.
be effing huge.
And
That
then
would
the
be
article
big.
the article said take it with a grain of salt, and this is all speculation.
Yes.
But that would actually be really cool if they did a Mario Kart 9.
Yeah, and it'll be the first time ever in in Nintendo history we got 2 Mario Karts on the same console. They don't tend to do that. Like I said, Mario Kart 8 is their Deluxe is their best-selling game on the Switch. 32 plus million sold software. It seems counterintuitive to have a 9, but we were in a weird situation. The Wii U was a very was a very I don't want to say it's not a bad console. I love my Wii U. It was not a success. It was a failure. That's the word I was looking for. It failed them. It only had a 3.5-year life cycle. They cut it quick to do the Switch. They brought all the games over, including Tokyo Mirage Sessions, baby. They brought that game over. Still censored, though, which is still fucking a bummer. But, hey, I'll take what I can get. The game that's on, at least it's on the Switch and more people can play it. Switch has been a runaway success for them. Focus, camera. Come on, camera. Focus. It's been a huge success for them. Metroid Prime 4, my gut is telling me we're not going to see that, Lou. Do you feel like we're going to see that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we could see a trailer of that. I really do. I don't...
Will we get the trilogy announced then? Will we get Metroid Prime Trilogy for Switch announced? That's been rumored for like a year and a half now.
Well, if the conference is supposed to be as meaty as they say, well, then we could. So I think that Nintendo is going to have a lot to bring to the table because of Sony and Xbox. This is kind of their month, I guess you would say, for price drop and all that type of stuff. I personally feel, and I think that Nintendo kind of wants to steal the show.
Okay, so. I mean that you're right. I hope it's good. You always, like Lou said earlier, take everything with a grain of salt. We're just talking rumors and speculation because it's fun. It's what we love to do here on the podcast. The whole point of this YouTube channel and Twitch channel is to get you guys outside your comfort zone and discover a lot of different games you might like. I've seen a lot of you, because I gush about Persona all the time. You guys come back to me, message me, text me, whatever. A lot of you guys, try it out and come back and talk to me and say you love it. I got my cousin into it. We had a spoiler cast. Never thought in my life I would see JJ play a Japanese role-playing game. But he did, and he loved it. He thought it was a fantastic game, It was his game of the year until Last of Us Part 2 came out for him. Let's end this pod with the best for last, right, Lou? Microsoft, right?
Sure.
Well, we're going to combine a lot of things. We're going to combine this summer with E3. The summer without E3. So the EA Play, the Ubisoft... what was the Ubisoft thing? Ubisoft... I don't remember what it was called. I want to say Ubisoft Direct, but that's not what it was called. They had a name or something. There was EA Play, Ubisoft something, Microsoft and Sony stuff. this summer E3, your overall, before we dive into Microsoft, what do you think of this summer without E3, bro? I kind of miss it. Like, I kind of miss E3 a lot.
Depressing. Depressing. That's the word of the day, depressing.
Depressing.
E3 is the best time of the year.
You're right, Nick. It's gone now. It's dead and buried. They're going to try to come back, though, next year, but you're kind of right. They're kind of dead. Go ahead, Lou.
Depressing. E3 is like the best time of the year for gaming. So, that's kind of like the Christmas of gaming, I guess you would say.
It was, so, yeah, I always considered E3 kind of being an old head now. I consider E3 as like our Super Bowl for sports. It's the best thing. It's like the best teams coming together to battle it out for that title, for your title, your own personal title. Like, who's going to win me over? All these awesome announcements. Sony's had some of the greatest E3s. They've had some bad ones, Nintendo's had some awful ones, Microsoft had some awful ones. Microsoft had some great ones, It's a shame. Ubisoft always has that funny one, right, with the dancing sequence and shit like that. And EA's always terrible. Usually their E3 is always bad, but people would come together and watch it. Millions and millions of people would watch these and wait for these things. I remember going to work and be like, I can't wait to get back and talk E3 with everybody, You missed G4 Gaming Channel? It's coming back, Joel. G4 Gaming is coming back.
Yeah, it's coming back 2021.
Because I don't think it's going to last long. I think it'll be back for a year. And that's about it.
The last I heard that it might actually go to what was it? The Peacock channel.
It'll be exclusive over there, huh?
Yeah. So what is it? NBC Uverse. I think that they're the same, right? Peacock and NBC Uverse.
I don't know. I can't. TV. My wheelhouse is more gaming and movies than it is TV. I do watch TV, but not as much. Mostly it's just sports and occasional. I used to be into Walking Dead and some of those AMC shows, but I got out after a while. I still haven't seen Game of Thrones. Everybody says it's great. Yeah, it's owned by Peacock. Show. Yes, NBC. Shout out to you, Nick. MVP. You and Joel have been MVPs this chat. But let's it's kind of a bummer. Like, this is, I think Sony had the best show with their PS5 reveal for sure. I think that has been the best show. The Far Cry 6 announcement was spoiled for us. That would have been big. Valhalla gameplay was pretty cool. EA Play was there. It was there, Skate 4 was a big announcement for me, but, obviously I'll be playing a lot of their sports games and stuff because we do play sports on this channel.
They didn't even announce UFC 4 on this show.
They didn't do that. Yeah, it's kind of weird. You only watch the cooking channel, Joe. Microsoft's gaming showcase. Let's talk about it in the pod here tonight. Lou recently just saw it. You saw JJ and I's reaction. I just wanted to kind of get Lou's thoughts, and I'll repeat some of my sentiment. So what were your impressions of watching Microsoft Gaming Showcase, Lou?
It was better than I thought. Not something I'm going to get up out of bed for early. I thought Halo was... I thought it was very disappointing graphics-wise. Just get this straight right now. I don't care about graphics. I'm not a graphics dude. But if you're going to sell your console on graphics and it's supposed to be better with specs and all this type of stuff, and this is what you're telling me, and then you present Halo to me, that Infinite trailer, I'm not investing in that. Mm-hmm. Like, that was very lackluster to me. Like, it was like, it was just bad. Like, I thought it would be better, but some of the other games kind of caught my eye. I think you said The Medium, right? It might be multi-platform.
Yeah, that was the game of the show for me. That was the one I liked the most, was Medium.
Stalker 2 caught my eye.
Mm-hmm. That's big.
What was the other one? Avowed. Yeah, that one caught my eye. But otherwise, everything. Uh, otherwise, Psychonauts 2 didn't do it for me.
I like that one a
Uh,
lot too. I'm with you. I was kind of disappointed with Halo. Uh, it's their flagship console, not console, flagship game. This is supposed to be their new console. It's supposed to show this I'm not a graphics whore either, and you guys watched me and JJ react to it. I thought it looked pretty good, but then I rewatched it and I'm like, wow, this actually looks pretty bad. This doesn't look good, and to me, it looked like they were trying to go back to basics with the Covenant and the Brutes and the Halo 3 look of the Spartan armor and stuff like that. But it's just I was kind of underwhelmed by it. I think, obviously, Halo is a big franchise. It's huge for them, but I don't know. I said this several times on Twitch and on stream and I think a few times on podcasts. 343 and the Coalition, Halo and Gears are just living for the sake of living. They're not really evolving as games. The
they're not anything special anymore.
That spark's not there. And it's tough to ask 343 and the Coalition to, take on these legacy franchises that you built and to handcuff them into these two games, and that's all they can make. They can't really show their creative talent with it. It's just kind of a bummer for them, and obviously the Coalition has done a solid job. Gears 4 and 5 were very solid games. We did a Gears of War-a-thon in February. It was JJ and I, and Backseat Neil. It was our love letter to you guys. We played that. We played all the games besides Judgment. We played every single Gears game, all 5 games besides Judgment. On stream for you guys. It was super fun. I had a great time reliving it, but all the original games were better. The original 3 games were way better to me story-wise than the new ones. And I don't hate Kate. I think her story's great. I'm not going to spoil Gears 5 or anything for Luke, because I know he's still playing it. But I was just a little underwhelmed with the whole Microsoft gaming showcase, just like Lou's sentiments were earlier. They do preach about power and graphics and beauty, but they don't really show a lot of that. And concept trailers don't really do it for me anymore. Rare showed their new game Everwild, I think it's called, and literally right after the stream, they're like, "Yeah, we don't even know what's going to be yet." It's like, okay, then why the hell show it then? And this is where being impatient comes in. They just bought a bunch of studios. It takes a long effing time to make a game. There's no way they just bought some of these studios a year ago, 6 months ago. They can't have concept trailers in games already. And the fact that someone were able to do that is pretty damn impressive. The thing I got about it is that they're walking their own path now. They're still competing with Sony and Nintendo, but they're going with services. Services is their key. Every game's going to be on Game Pass that we show here. That was the first thing they said. Every single game is going to be on Game Pass, because that is the message right now for Sony, right? Sony's anti-consumer for a lot of people. They're saying, I don't think so. I don't believe in that. I think they're very smart in their business decisions, and they only really, again, they don't listen to the noise. They only care about their fandom, and they just keep going with it. Obviously, making Spider-Man exclusive for their Avengers game.
I just felt that it was hard for me to watch their conference. It's Xbox's conference, because it's just so lackluster and a bunch of hopes. It's like a rebuilding stage for a team. You understand? We have these 2 stars, which are Gears and Halo.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it. It's a good analogy, because that's what they are doing, Lou. It's exactly what they're doing. 100% what you just said.
Right, and you're kind of hoping that one of these games becomes a star.
Yes.
To go with Halo and Gears, but Halo and Gears are kind of getting old, and they're getting past their prime.
Yeah.
So it's again, I shouldn't speak for them, but it's just kind of how I'm taking it from the way a lot of people are talking about those games.
Yeah.
And it's to me, I think that it's when I look at the conference and when I was watching it, I kind of felt sad. I felt sad because, you could see that they're trying, but it's just, I don't really think it's gonna click yet. I think you're
Yeah.
still waiting for that one star, that one exclusive
Yeah.
to
And to be fair, that one star will only quiet the noise down for a little bit because Sony just
about
keeps
6
rattling off
months.
winners right now, and a lot of people are just going to look at that. But obviously, I think all three companies they are still competing with each other, of course. But all
Yes.
three clearly are walking their own path. Sony, single player narrative games, they take a lot of risks with their making new IPs, and they're paying off mostly. I'd say at like a 75% clip, they're winning. Not all of them are hitting home runs. Sometimes it's hitting a single, double. Detroit Become Human, Death Stranding. Even though a lot of people are coming around to Death Stranding now because they're playing it on PC, or it's coming out on PC, and people are watching. Bought it for the cheap because it's on sale, and they're playing it now on PS4, and be like, wow, this is actually really good. And it was
This is better than I
that and
thought.
RE2 Remake were my game of the years last year. Death Stranding was a fantastic experience, and I love Kojima. Maybe I'm just a little bit biased. I understand his games. I know a lot of people find it weird as shit and don't get it, but it all makes sense in the end for them. Microsoft, they're trying. They're trying hard, Lou. They really are trying hard. You said a lot of great things there. I agree with you. They're rebuilding. They're trying really hard, but again, this is where you have to be patient and you got to give them a shot. And honestly, Game Pass is the best fucking deal on the planet, man. For $1, you can get like 200 plus games for free. Like, it's amazing. But that can only get you so far eventually because they're bleeding a lot of money. They're bleeding a lot of money. I know Microsoft's rich as shit and they can do whatever they want and they can, but eventually the real Microsoft, the other side, not the gaming division, the one that's about technology and moving things over with their Surface tablets and stuff, pushing all the boundaries and limits to their technology they're eventually going to get fed up at a certain point and be like, hey, you got to break in some damn money, right? So
that's what I was just going to ask you. How long? Because I'm going to call it a rebuilding phase for them.
Yeah.
How long until we have to rebuild again? Because with some of these teams, right, they just rebuild and they tank for years and years, and they just wait for that one star to, give them hope, or the 2 stars, depending on the team, of course, the sport, I should say. But how long are we? What's the gap? How many more years are we giving Microsoft to, finally judge what they're bringing to the table? I should say. Because right now it's not much.
It's a fair question, but it's a subjective question. Everything actually is really subjective. It's just whatever your opinion is on a lot of stuff. But for a lot of people, I think it's going to be around 3 years. I think that's my gut feeling. I think a lot of
3
people
more years.
You got to have something in 3 years. Show something, and they have a lot of good potential talent, like Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2. I think will be a huge success. Yes, was it stupid what they showed in the game showcase? Yeah, hey, we're the game's based off Iceland by. That was terrible. That was fucking horrendous. But the game itself is going to be really good. I think it potentially could be really, really good. Forza is always a huge hit for them, even though no one talks about it. Forza is big for them. They're doing a lot of new IPs now. The Everwild, a bunch of other stuff. State of Decay 3 was announced. I'm trying to remember what else. What other new IP? Avowed, stuff like that. They're doing. It's just gonna take. It's just gonna take some time, and we haven't even seen their quadruple A studio. They call it. I forgot what it's called. I think it's the Initiative. We haven't even seen their game yet, right? And Microsoft is supposed to have something this month too. Sony and Microsoft are really playing a big game of chicken. But we're going to end it here. We want to hear what you guys think down below in the comment section. Shout out to Nick, Joel, Shannon, commenting down below. Yes, that's exactly what they want to do, Nick, for sure. But the only problem of doing that is it's hard to make your games look good and function on every single thing. And that's why Halo kind of looks a little bad, I think. Obviously either they didn't have enough time to make it, which sounds kind of odd to me, or it's a product of having to put it on PC and phones and 6 other Xbox systems that you're creating. It's tough. That's why the Sony exclusives look so good. That's why they look next gen. That's why they look so powerful, because they only have to focus on one fucking box. That's what makes them look good. Same thing with Nintendo games, right? That's why Mario looks so good. You don't see Mario on Xbox, right? You don't see Mario on PlayStation. You don't see Mario anywhere else. But Microsoft, I give them a lot of credit. They're very pro-consumer because they have to be. They have no fucking choice. They can't do anything else. You think if everyone accepted in 2013, everyone accepted their stupid DRM policies and all the stupid policies they had, for gaming, and everyone accepted that, and they won the console war. You think they'd be very pro-consumer? Hell no. They're being pro-consumer because they're fucking losing, and that is fact. And I hate to say it that way. But it's very smart, though. It's a very smart tactic. Because in an alternate universe somewhere, Sony did the same thing. Sony lost the console war. Now they're pro-consumer in another alternate reality. It's just how business works, guys. You gotta cater to your crowd, and you gotta cater to the consumer.
You gotta win back the love.
Yeah.
You gotta win it back. So it's kind of like what Bethesda needs to do.
Yeah. Look at Bethesda. Everybody overlooked. That's a great point, Lou. Everybody overlooked Bethesda's fuck-ups, right? The games were always glitchy. They had several patches, but everyone had so much fun with Elder Scrolls and Fallout and all the games they made. But what did it take? It took one game to destroy their whole history, right? Fallout 76. They ruined their reputation. It's the same thing with EA and BioWare. BioWare was beloved. Mass Effect Trilogy. Then Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda completely ruined their reputation, And it was the same thing with Microsoft. That 2013, all that DRM policy, after they were very fantastic with their 360 console, they blew it. They blew it. They shot themselves in the foot, and Sony beat them over the head, and they never relinquished the lead. And Sony, I don't think, is going to anytime soon. I think a lot of people are really excited for PS5. It's just an interesting conversation, and I'm not trying to hate on Microsoft. I really do like Microsoft. I think it's smart going pro-consumer, but they're doing it because they're losing, guys, and that's fact. I
just want to see them. I want to see them do better. And
me too. Me too.
We saw who they really were with the whole DRM stuff.
Yeah.
But I know that time has gone by, and they've changed, and you give them a second chance and everything like
Don
that.
Matronick, he left soon after he announced all that shit. Phil Spencer's done a phenomenal job turning all this around, taking the Kinect out of the box. Trying to get exclusive titles. The beginning of the generation, they had Scalebound, they had Phantom Dust, they had all these games, Gears, Rise of the Tomb Raider. They had all these exclusives. But obviously, Phantom Dust and Scalebound both got canceled, never came to light. They got into a few snags. They wanted to beat Uncharted 4, but Tomb Raider's not Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 was 1,000% better than Rise of the Tomb Raider, even though that's a fantastic game.
And I was going to get Scalebound too. Scalebound, I was excited for.
I was hugely excited for Scalebound. But. Platinum Games can be tough to work with. They're a tough team, but Nintendo has done fantastic things with them, with Astral Chain and Bayonetta and stuff like that. So, it's about a healthy working relationship. Phil Spencer's turning around. They're trying hard. That's the moral of the story. I want to thank Lou for their time. I want to thank Shannon, Nick, Joel for being MVPs in the comment section. I want you to smash the hell out of this like button. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. Do it on the other videos as well. I did a lot more other videos. We talked about Spider-Man exclusivity and all that. I do appreciate all the love on Twitch and YouTube. We hit Twitch affiliate a few months ago, like 3 months ago. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. no Twitch stream tonight. We'll do some more Avengers beta tomorrow on Twitch. That'll be my one thing to do tomorrow on Twitch. I want to thank Lou for his time. Thank him so much. We're going to be a lot better about the pod. I apologize, guys. We'll be a lot better. We'll put it on a lot of other services as well. I know a lot of you are asking for that as well. We'll do that as well. But I want to thank Lou for his time. Thank you guys for your time. Sub if you're new. Comment down below. Smash the hell out of that like button. I've been your fellow Strauss man, the GG. And Lou,